In a dramatic legal turnabout, the High Court made a decision that has shocked the country and muzzled even the most experienced politicians. Gert Mantashe, the former Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy and one of the ANC bigwigs, has been given only 7 days to be honest. The court directive requires Mantashe to provide a complete sworn affidavit naming all ANC members he can identify to be corrupting, both current and past. The order is unprecedented. Never before in the democratic history of South Africa has a court ever ordered a high-level political leader to personally name his colleagues or suffer the brunt alone. It is an action that shook the ruling party to its foundations and spilled over into calls for accountability, justice, and even the survival of the ANC. This sensational turn of events follows in the wake of Mantashe's own controversial foreign arrest and continuing probe into money laundering, bribes, and illegal contracts with foreign governments and multinational business concerns. Prosecutors claim Mantashe worked at the nexus of a wide web of official corruption, enriching himself as well as members of his close circle. Now that the law is closing in, they want him to give names or be hit with even more severe charges solo. When the decision was made, the response in Parliament was instant and explosive. With news of the ultimatum circulating, opposition leaders called for an emergency sitting. That which followed was political warfare at its worst. Fists thumped down on tables, voices were raised in anger, and ANC members exchanged blows with each other in the public eye, yelling insults across the floor and labeling each other traitors. The DA, EFF, and minor opposition parties smelt a chance, closing in like sharks on the hunt. Helen stood up and gave a stinging jab, declaring that the ANC shield days are over, and that Mantashe should either spill the beans or become a man who shielded a criminal empire. She hit the chamber with an eruption of chaos. ANC MPs, outraged by the public airing of their party's dirty laundry, stormed out in protest, while others, clearly traumatized, went on their knees in private begging Mantashe to keep quiet, terrified that if he speaks the whole party edifice might tumble under the burden of revelation. Mantashe himself is at a starkly frightening juncture. On one hand, he could get a 25-year sentence for corruption, racketeering, and obstruction of justice, and on the other he also has the opportunity to redeem himself by making his closest associates the sacrifice, including sitting ministers, old business associates, and perhaps even the president himself. From court sources, prosecutors have already shown their hand, signaling a possible plea bargain, but it cost him dearly. Mantashe has to cooperate fully, supply documents, and identify at least 5 senior ANC figures who are implicated in state capture, tender rigging, and unlawful campaign finance. The whole country is holding its breath. Will he accept the deal? Will he bring down a corrupt political dynasty? Or will he remain loyal, not betray his colleagues, and burn with them? Within the ANC, unity has fallen apart like broken glass. Leaked discussions and whistleblower reports imply that a civil war is being fought within the party's highest echelons. Members committed to reform are demanding a full internal audit and an open probe into corruption. Others are in a flap, wiping electronic trails, shutting offshore accounts, and wiping years of encrypted messages before police close in. Fear has seized the movement that once bragged about being the face of freedom. President Cyril Ramaphosa, already under huge pressure from a series of scandals as well as factional wars, has not made a statement yet, and his silence is being read by many as a sign of fear. Even his closest friends are reported to be anxious that if Mantashe speaks out, nobody in the leadership of the ANC will be safe. Backstage rumors are rampant about Inma's resignation, preterm elections, or even the likelihood of Ramaphosa himself being caught up. Regular South Africans, however, are no longer standing idly by. There have been nationwide protests with people massing outside government offices to call for urgent accountability, transparency, and widespread resignations in the ANC. Civil society groups have also started petitions that request Mantashe's testimony be televised live on national television, and that all listed officials be suspended until investigations are conducted. The mood in public has changed from anger to indignation, and the people clearly will not stand for another cover-up. On social media, the pressure is unrelenting. Social media hashtags such as #MantishMock and #InkExposed have gone viral, topping global trends within hours of the decision. Memes, videos, and leaked audio notes are streaming through sites like Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook, keeping the scandal in the headlines and driving international interest. And yes, the world is indeed paying attention. Human rights organizations, international media, and even South Africa's BRICS allies are watching closely. A number of embassies in Pretoria have made diplomatic statements calling for transparency and accountability, and international law enforcement agencies have been said to be scrutinizing financial transactions that might implicate South African officials in global webs of corruption. Experts say that if money laundering and illegal financial flows are proven, the nation might be sanctioned, have travel bans imposed, or be blocked from major trade agreements. Experts warn too that South Africa's international standing is on a thread, already damaged by state capture over years, load shedding and economic stagnation. The nation now stands to be branded as politically unstable and unreliable. Investors are apprehensive, credit rating agencies are looking on with interest, and inaction will have long-term economic and diplomatic consequences. Meanwhile, the High Court decision has sparked a ferocious legal argument. Can the courts really order a politician to give names? Some constitutional experts say the order goes too far and breaches the separation of powers principle. Others reply that this is what democracy is about, making sure no one, not even the top people in power, is beyond the law. If Mantashe appeals the order in the Constitutional Court, the case would potentially become one of the most important legal struggles in South African history, with ramifications that will resonate for decades to come. Until then, however, attention is focused on a single man and the choice he has to make. Mantashe has only 7 days to answer the High Court's order. During that period, he has to either bring the names, proof, and full report of ANC corruption before him or risk the full weight of the law. What he decides will not only seal his own destiny, but potentially decide the ANC's future, the presidency, and South Africa's young democracy. Don't blink an eye during this plot. Subscribe to the channel now, ring that notification bell, and give us your opinions in the comments. What must Mantashe do?